It is part 2 of the Real Sports Rundown. Like I said in the first segment, man, I've been off for a couple weeks, okay? I've had a lot of other things going on. Had a store to rebuild, man. Got a brand new store, out with the old, in with the new. So now, once again, we just talked about some college football, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Eagles signing Michael Vick. Now let's move on to David Ortiz. His name was named in that 2003 anonymous report that was of all the drug testers, you know, that A-Rod's name came out on, and apparently Manny Ramirez, I think they said his name came out on it too, and now David Ortiz. Now, why did I not lead off with this at the beginning of this show? Because it's not that big of a deal anymore. We all know everybody did it, apparently, okay? Now, the biggest thing that's been going around is Hank Aaron himself, the home run king. Sorry, Barry Bonds. You are not the home run king, in my opinion. It is Hank Aaron still to this day. He says, release all the names. Get it out of the way, because this is what's going to happen. You have 100+ names on this report right now. What are you going to do? Leak out 1 or 2 every other 2 years? These names are going to be coming out for the next, 30 years. And you know what's going to happen? By the time all the names come out, everybody on the list will be dead and probably already in the Hall of Fame. So what are you going to do? If you inducted somebody into the Hall of Fame, that name was on that list, but you didn't know it until after you did it. What do? Kick them out of the Hall of Fame? So release all the names. Get it out of the way. It's like I said before. You know that little Band-Aid that you try to slowly rip off on your hair arms and it kind of hurts? One quick motion. Get it out of the way. Get all the names out there. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Put the names out there. All right, sticking with baseball. The Red Sox took a chance on John Smoltz. Got designated for assignment after getting roughed up by the Yankees. He declined it. So now the Red Sox have to either trade him or release him. More than likely he'll be released and he'll just either retire or sign with another team. John Smoltz, man, one of the greatest pitchers of my generation that I've seen pitch when he was with Atlanta. I mean, it was Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox with the Atlanta Braves. I mean, those 3 guys, you can't, it's hard to choose which one you would want starting Game 7 of the World Series for you. You know what I mean? And I mean, really, whoever you start with, the next 2 are in line to middle relief, close the game out. That's what I would do with those 3. In any order, you can't go wrong. Back in the early, mid-90s. So, John Smoltz's career may be sadly coming to an end. But hey, you know, it all ends for everybody at some point. A lot of trades happened over the last few weeks as well. The Detroit Tigers traded for Jared Washburn from the Seattle Mariners. Helps them out tremendously. They needed some pitching help, so they got it. So what did the Chicago White Sox do, who are right behind them in the standings? They traded for Jake Peavy. So now Peavy goes from the San Diego Padres to the Chicago White Sox. Now originally they tried to trade for him. They said no. Or Peavy said no, he wanted to stay in the National League. He didn't want to go to the American League. Well, now he decided to go ahead and do it. He's coming off ankle problems, so he might be coming back pitching here soon. He's going to help the White Sox contend with the Tigers. The American League Central is going to be a very, very tight race toward the very end. Jake Peavy will help out the Sox. Jared Washburn will help out the Tigers. I still have the Tigers winning the division, so I hope they do. That's what I'm hoping for. And also a very funny note that we'll get to later on the show, but Victor Martinez was traded from the Cleveland Indians to the Boston Red Sox. So once again, that helps them out in so many different ways. So now if Lowell needs a rest, you move Uke the third. You can put Victor at first, Varitek catching. Or you can put Victor Martinez catching, Uke back at first, Lowell at third, and then have Ortiz still DH. I mean, the Red Sox just got even stronger in their lineup hitting-wise. Their pitching has been okay. I mean, they faltered as of late. The Yankees have been on a surge lately. Who would have saw that coming? I didn't. I'm kind of still hoping that the Yankees fall off and don't make the playoffs. But, you know, hey, what can I say? You know, not everybody can get everything right. So, but you know what? There's still a lot of baseball to be played. Everybody's penciling in division winners. Guys, there is no such thing as division winners until the very last game of the season. Colorado Rockies proved that a few years ago when they won like 22 of 21 or something like that to get all the way to the World Series. So, you know what? Never say never, guys. I'm just going to say that for you right now. Okay, now we're going to switch it up to basketball now. Rashard Lewis tested positive for steroids. Wow, what a shocker. You know, NBA players, you don't really consider NBA players taking steroids or, you know, illegal substances like that. But here's what the thing is. Rashard Lewis tested positive during the playoffs and then got retested again during the NBA Finals. And this just came out. So now he's suspended, I think, for the first 5 or 10 games of the season. In the NBA, that's not really a big deal. I mean, you don't clinch playoff berths in November. You clinch them in April and May. Okay, because the season's so long. I mean, it's not going to affect the Orlando Magic. They still got Vince Carter. They still got Dwight Howard. Rashard Lewis lost in the beginning of the season, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. And truthfully, him taking steroids and getting caught is really not that big of a deal anyways come NBA, because you don't really associate... Because steroids don't help you in basketball. There has to be a skill there. okay? And Rashard Lewis has it, and he didn't need steroids to do it. He was a high school phenomenon, played great in Seattle, and then he's been playing great for Orlando. So there's that. Lamar Odom re-signed with the Los Angeles Lakers, so as much as this pains me to say, the Los Angeles Lakers are probably going to be the odds-on favorite to repeat as champions. They signed Ron Artest, basically trading, they lost Trevor Ariza to the Houston Rockets. Artest goes to the Lakers. Now Odom's back with the Lakers. Kobe Bryant. Lakers, they're going to be the team to beat in the West right now, so there you go. And then Brandon Roy signed an extension with the Portland Trailblazers. That's a very good move by Portland. They're on the up and up right now. They're a good young team, and they're going to be fighting to get to those NBA Finals over the next probably 5 to 6 years if they can keep that core intact. So smart move by Brandon Roy because that's a good team to stick to right now. Portland's always been a class act organization, so good move by the Blazers and by Brandon Roy. All right, so now moving back to football, the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies took place over the last week. I think it was last weekend. Some of the biggest names that were inducted was Derek Thomas, the late Derek Thomas. He played for the Kansas City Chiefs, died in a horrible accident. I think it was back in 2000. He was a great player, great Pro Bowler, great player there. He was inducted to the Hall of Fame along with Rod Woodson. Man, you want to talk about gritty and on the defensive end, Rod Woodson was it. He got inducted. And then, of course, the biggest name there was Bruce Smith because all the Buffalo faithful came out to see Bruce Smith inducted to the Hall of Fame. He was a part of the Bills team that made it to 4 straight Super Bowls. Unfortunately, they lost all 4 that they went to. But, I mean, that's still a remarkable feat. You went to 4 straight Super Bowls. That's unheard of. I mean, yeah, you want to call him choke artist in the Super Bowl? Sure. But getting to the Super Bowl, unbelievable task with Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, all of those guys. That was a good football team. And he was a part of the team that defeated the Oilers in probably the biggest choke job comeback victory in NFL and actually in probably sports history. So, all right, and so now we're gonna move it to some Astros news. Now they're not playing as well, and yes, I know. Let me hear it. The Astros. Yeah, I know. People are booing them. They're booing them. I know, but you know what? I'm not booing them. There's still time left in the season. Like I said, they still have a chance. I've never given up hope, especially with this guy Bud Norris coming into the effect. He's won his first 3 starts, and he is the first Astro to do that since 2004 when Roger Clemens did it in his Astros debut. So guess what? Bud Norris, bright future with you, my friend, in this organization. All right, now it's time for Did You See That? Clap it. Yes, clap. Thank you. Did you see this? Okay, we're running down some quick things that if you didn't see, it was unbelievable. Shane Victorino of the Philadelphia Phillies, the Flying Hawaiian, playing center field in Pedro Martinez pitching debut for the Phillies in Chicago against the Cubs. He's in center field. He goes to catch the ball, and what happens? A fan throws a beer on him as he's catching the ball. Now, why in the hell would you do that? Only Chicago fans would do that. See, now look, I got a nice little cup here that I brought home from the game one time. Now, this was just a soda, but this is a pretty big cup. Beer pretty much goes in these too. These things cost almost $10 at a game. So you know what I'm doing when I have an alcoholic beverage at a game? This is what I'm doing. I'm drinking it. Now, there's nothing in it, though. Don't worry, I'm not drinking on the show. Okay? So that's what I'm doing. I'm not doing this. I'm not trying to throw a beer. Oh, yeah, I throw a beer on him. I'm not doing that. Why would you do that? Why would you waste a beer like that? That is alcohol abuse, my friend. So anybody, if you see this guy at a party, don't throw a beer on him because, like I said, that's alcohol abuse. So what you do is you get a nice pitcher of water and just toss it on the guy for being such an idiot and throwing a beer on somebody. Who the hell does that? Okay, not a true fan, not a true beer drinker. But, of course, I forget, we're dealing with Chicago Cubs fans. And how do we feel about Chicago Cubs fans on this show, people? What do we do to them? That's right. Boo! We're booing you. We're booing you. We're booing you. Because, you know what, Cubs fans? You're not a class act. I'm sorry. Y'all are the worst fans I have ever seen. Okay? Y'all throw beer on people. You blame people for your team losing. You're the worst fans ever. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for the Real Sports Rundown Part 2 of the show. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry it took so long to get this show up and running. And once again, man, I'm a busy man. So I'm going to try to get the show up, like I said, every single week. The next week's show, though, will probably include the fantasy draft of everybody on the team. Live call-ins. We're going to have it all set up. So next week's show should be very, very entertaining. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week. Hope everybody's having a great summer.